Africa is going through a deep change that is amazing from a scientific point of view and has caught the attention of scientists and people who just want to know more. The tectonic forces that have been shaping our planet for a very long time are now causing something that has never happened before. Africa is going to split into two separate countries. What effect will this split have on the region's ecosystems, cultures, and the way the world works? Explore with us the wild heart of Africa as we peel back the layers of the mystery and truth behind this amazing change. Are you ready to learn the secrets of Earth's ever-changing story in Africa, which is splitting into two continents? Let's begin. The East African Rift. The East African Rift system is an area in East Africa where a unique geological event is happening. This area is made up of three tectonic plates that move together. As the Somali Plate and the Arabian Plate slowly move away from each other, they stretch the Earth's crust in the area. This makes the crust thinner and more likely to break apart in the future. This makes what is called a rift valley, which is a long valley with a number of cracks, flaws, and volcanoes. The tectonic rocks in the East African Rift system will continue to move apart over millions of years, making the Rift Valley even more windy. As the Rift Valley grows, the ocean will finally flood the area, creating a new ocean basin in between the plates that separate. This new ocean will divide the mainland of America into two separate land masses. When a horizontal extensional force is put on a lithosphere, the lithosphere will spread, which will make it thinner. It will definitely break apart, which will cause a rift valley to form. About 138 million years ago, when South America and Africa broke apart, the South Atlantic Ocean was formed. For continental rifting to happen, there must be existential forces that are strong enough to break the lithosphere. The African Rift is an example of an active type of raft. The forces that caused the roof to form under this rift are mostly caused by the movement of the mantle below the surface. The rise of a large mantle cloud is pushing the lithosphere upward. This is making the lithosphere thinner because the temperature is going up, and it is being stretched and broken by the vaulting. The rift valleys. Rifts stand out because of their very different landscape, which is made up of a series of depressions that are separated by faults and surrounded by higher ground. From space, you can see that the East African system is made up of a series of aligned rift valleys that are divided by large bounding faults. These cracks didn't all start at the same time. Instead, they followed a pattern that started in a remote part of northern Ethiopia about 30 million years ago and moved south at an average rate of 2.5 to 5 centimeters per year all the way to Zimbabwe. Even though most people can't feel earthquakes, they can be caused by the formation of new faults, fissures, and cracks, as well as the restart of movement along previously established faults as the Anubian and Somali plates continue to move away from each other. Most of the earthquakes in East Africa are spread out over a large area that includes the Rift Valley, and they aren't too big. The fact that volcanoes are still erupting shows that continental breakup is still happening close to the surface, where the hot, molten stratospheres are. Controversies. One thing is for sure, when the African continent finally breaks in two, the climate, ecosystems, and human societies will all change slowly over time. But it's important to remember that this process will take millions of years, so there will be plenty of time for change and less chance of sudden and terrible events. Along the rift zone, where the continents are breaking apart, there will be more volcanoes and earthquakes, moving tectonic plates, and the creation of new faults along the rift may boost seismic activity, such as earthquakes. Even though most of these earthquakes are likely to be small, there is a chance that some could be bigger and more damaging, putting people and buildings in the affected areas at risk. As the Rift Valley gets bigger and finally turns into an ocean basin, it will have a big effect on the drainage patterns and ecosystems in the area. When a river is changed, it leads to the creation of new lakes. Some modern bodies of water may disappear, and these changes can have big effects on local ecosystems and the people who depend on these water sources. Infrastructure like roads and bridges will have to change to fit the new landscape, and people who live near the rift zone may have to move at some point. Africa being split into two continents could lead to a number of risks and problems, such as more volcanoes and earthquakes, changes in draining patterns and ecosystems, and so on. Changes to the coast and what they mean for society, the economy, and politics. Measures for safety. Due to the way the Earth has changed over time, however, there are ways to reduce risks and prepare better for the long-term effects of this continental split. Scientists can learn a lot about the ongoing processes and possible dangers in the East African Rift System by keeping a close eye on the natural activity there. Construction in high-risk areas like near active volcanic zones or along fault lines can help reduce the effects of future geological events, and local governments should invest in disaster preparation and response measures to reduce the effects. To deal with the long-term effects of this geological event, it will be important to work with nearby countries through international organizations to make joint plans for monitoring preparation and reaction. The way the continents move is a very slow process that takes millions of years to complete. Because of this, we won't see any big changes. Africa breaking into two continents is a fascinating example of how the constant movement of tectonic plates changes the surface of our world, even though the changes are not on a timescale that people can understand. By learning about these geological processes, we can better understand how active Earth's geology is. That was the end of the video. We hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to share and press the bell icon for regular updates.